Hey guys, welcome back and thank you so much for watching. I am so excited about this build because I'm actually recreating Dunder Mifflin, The Office, the US version of the TV show. So this was definitely a really fun build and I just hope that someone else out there enjoys it because The Office, this TV show is one of my favorite shows, and I'm sure it's a lot of your guys' favorite shows too, especially if you're watching this Sims build of it right now. And yeah, I just had a whole lot of fun reminiscing on the characters and all of the crazy episodes. So yeah, so I actually am recreating the outside of the building, of course. I'm almost done with it. Just have a few more changes you'll see, and then we'll be working on the second story first, which is where the main office spaces are. And then once we wrap that up, I'm actually also going to be including the warehouse in the first floor because there's a lot of fun episodes in the warehouse too. So that part is actually a little bit trickier because there weren't as many episodes in the warehouse. So I just, did my best to recreate that warehouse vibe. But I'm really happy how all of it turned out. So hopefully you guys enjoy this too as much as I enjoyed building it. I'm just adding the finishing touches to the outside right now. This is going to be that Dunder Mifflin sign at the entrance. And I noticed there were some pipes over there along that wall, so added some pipes there. And yeah, I did my best to recreate that texture right there along the top 2 stories of the building, and added some roof decor just so it's not so bare. And that's about it. Onto the inside. So I already made this layout ahead of time just because it was a little bit intricate. I didn't want to put you guys through that, but I definitely wanted to get it as close to the actual layout as possible. So I feel pretty good about it. And yeah, funny thing about the layout is I don't think that the office was actually filmed inside this building because the windows don't match up from the inside to the outside. And I think they did a really good job at recreating the space inside because I didn't notice it watching the TV show, but definitely through this build I noticed that the inside doesn't match the outside. Especially that space right there. That's actually supposed to be a longer hallway in the TV show, but here, if you have the elevator where it's supposed to be, the hallway ends because there's no more floor space. So, that part's not really important anyway, so I just cut that part off because they never filmed past that point anyway, so no big deal. Just something I didn't notice watching through the TV show and noticed during this build. But I'm working on the entrance area right now. And it's pretty simple. Just got some fun couches and some decor there, and I did my best to match the furniture and the placements of the frame, which is oddly not centered in the couch, but I'm sure it only bugs me. And I'm working on Pam's reception area right now. It's just the beginnings of it. She has quite a few desk spaces in her area because she is the receptionist. And speaking of which, I know they've had a few different receptionists in The Office. This build is going to be based on like season 4-ish of The Office, just because I feel like that selection of characters is like the strongest throughout the season. I feel like, at least when I think of The Office, I think about Pam and Jim still, flirting with each other, and at this point, they've already been through 3 seasons of like, will they get together? Will they not get together? And Jim just being like, I can't deal with this anymore, and going away. And season 4, he comes back. They're finally in an official relationship. Yay! And the only other side characters left from the merger in season 2 or 3, I can't remember, is Andy. So Andy and Jim. So it's just like the original characters that are there throughout most of the seasons, and then Andy too. So, and I love Andy. So yeah, I felt like this was a good time for me to do this because Pam is still the receptionist. Even though I love Erin too, I just felt like Pam as the receptionist is like what I think of when I think of The Office. And you know, Jim and Dwight being on that whole section desk area by themselves, not with Pam there, and Erin at the receptionist. So yeah, I'm just finished up with Pam's reception area. I feel like I did a pretty nice job, especially considering we don't have copy makers or fax makers, copiers I guess it's called, in The Sims, but that science lab thing looked like a copy machine, honestly, so I just pretended it was. And then there was another thing from the Get to Work pack that looked kind of like a printer, so I just pretended that was a printer, and I used it a few times throughout the office. So I made do with what I have. I found that the Get to Work pack has come especially in handy in this build, especially with a lot of the clutter items, a lot of the furniture items. So pretty much most of the items is Get to Work, besides a few of the clutter items are from miscellaneous packs, but no CCs, no fancy things like that, just pack items and some base game items here and there. But yeah, I'm working on Michael Scott's office right now, and that's another reason I wanted to do one of the earlier on seasons before you know, they had the change in management. So Michael Scott is still the regional manager. Dwight Schrute is still the unofficial assistant to the regional manager. So I definitely wanted that dynamic when recreating this space. So I put a lot of Michael Scott's same clutter that I found in like a lot of his episodes. So he had a lot of toys, a lot of like sales awards, those gnome statues, and that megaphone I've seen on that desk. So we ended up having a lot of the same decor to place in his office, so that was fun. Right now, I am just getting ready to figure out the desk placement for everybody else that gets a desk. I end up swapping these desks out in a little bit just because they weren't quite the right fit, I felt. So you'll see that in a little bit, but I'm just figuring out overall placement before I get too involved in the next person's desk. And placing the extra doors and windows here and there. And here we go. I found some better desks for everybody just because it had that nice wood top, but then the metal, the drawers, and it was pretty much the right colors. So that worked, giving everybody chairs. And yeah, right here, this is gonna be Jim and Dwight's desk because, yeah, that's like the legendary Jim and Dwight's desk. A lot of pranks going on in this area right here. So this is before Pam moved to join their area. So they just got a bunch of boxes and trash cans because that's what I've seen in episodes there, in that soon-to-be Pam's desk area. So I just imagined, you know, Jim just kicking it back and shooting some paper balls into those trash cans while Dwight is scheming away at, or trying to figure out their prank, whatever those two goofballs are doing. And I'm placing a bunch of more boxes everywhere. I got the accounting department kind of going. This is Angela's desk right here, so she's actually the only one with a divider between her and Kevin's desk, which is kind of funny, but yeah, definitely fits Angela, her character. So I gave her lots of cats because she is a diehard cat fan, has lots of cat pets. So yeah, that was her space. Here's Kevin's space across from her. I love Kevin. Such a sweet guy. He had actually like a teddy bear on that desk behind him, so I gave him that teddy bear. Gave him a few toys, a hamburger on his desk, just because. And going back and forth between gym and counting areas. I think I'm done with the counting area for now. So yeah, this is back to Jim and Dwight's area. Gave Jim a soccer ball and Dwight his bobblehead thing, which surprisingly looked kind of like Dwight, so I was really happy to find that there. And this is Phyllis's desk right here. So she's like the extreme romantic, and her boyfriend, who is like a mysterious boyfriend for many of the seasons, but he is real. We meet him eventually at one of the Christmas parties or something like that. And she does have a real boyfriend, and he is super sweet. They're very sweet together, and so he's always giving her like bears and flowers and romantic things like that. So I gave her a lot of like romantic decor on her desk. And this is Stanley's desk right here. I didn't actually realize until looking at photos for his desk that he had a lot of like toy cars on his desk. I just remember him doing like the crossword all the time, so I gave him that open book with the pen on it. That's supposed to be a crossword, as best as I can. So I also gave Phyllis like a romance novel on her desk, and then I put if you saw it, a painting or art book on Pam's desk because that's what she's into, and gave her some fun paintings that she supposedly did laying against the wall there. And then I gave Andy like a self-help book on his desk because he's like the goofy one, but he also was dealing with like a anger management issue and then came back, and so gave him that. And I also gave him some nautical decor because he actually owns a boat. I don't know if we know this yet in season 4, but he will or does own a boat at some point. So gave him some sailing decor on his desk, and now I'm just like filling up these extra walls here according to the episodes. And onto the conference room. This is a fun room because they were in this conference room quite a lot because of Michael Scott. He loved hosting conference meetings, even if they weren't, I doubt they were ever really productive, right? But yeah, they were definitely in this room a lot, and he was always the center of attention in the meetings. And yeah, so that was a lot of fun recreating that. I just set it up for the chairs only rather than the conference table because I felt like a lot of their meetings were, like that, all just facing him. So did that, and right now I'm working on Daryl's office. I think this is about the time when he was upstairs in the office for a little bit, and he got this office space, so I just went with it. And I ended up giving him those jazz posters back there, you see, those paintings, but I'll swap them later because it just doesn't fit. But there weren't a whole lot of photos to go off of because it was such a short time that he was there in that space, so all of the ones that I found were like interview close-ups, and those aren't very helpful. So I ended up swapping them out later, but yeah, right now I am working on this wall right here. Usually they would have like the water drinking dispenser here and another copier or printer. So I decided to just give them like that extra table with the trash cans and drink tray because we don't have water dispensers here. So that was the closest I can get to that. And right now this is Creed and Meredith's desk. Nothing fancy, but wanted them to have, all of the basic stuff. And then there was a world map right by them, so gave them that. And this one was fun. Ryan was in the broom closet for the longest time, so I went ahead and put him there because when I think of him, that's where I imagine him. So gave him this tiny desk space, which is actually pretty cozy. So gave him all of the clutter and everything there, and now we are on to the kitchen. All white cabinets and counters, and just gave them all of the appliances and everything that they had there. And yeah, gave them some cookies and tea and all of that nice stuff. Just lots of lots of quick scenes in this kitchen, so it was nice reminiscing on all of those, and gave them that famous dining table there. I ended up swapping the chairs in a little bit, but yeah, that's there for now. Gave them all of the wall decor that was there. The only thing I couldn't really replicate in this was all of the millions of cereal boxes on top of the fridge, and all of the you know, paintings, pictures on the fridge itself. But moving on to the ladies' restroom, I gave them that nice couch because the ladies' restroom was nicer, and they had a couch so that they could just get away and chill for a little bit if the boys were being too much, which I think I remember they ended up doing a lot. But anyways, I gave them that and 2 enclosed toilets, and I just mimicked their restroom for the boys without being as fancy, just because I don't really recall seeing a whole lot of the men's restroom, so made it more basic. And on to the other side of the building, which will have the break room and the annex. So right now I'm starting the break room, and they had 4 vending machines, a lot of episodes here too. And they had a small hallway outside of the break room, or sometimes the cameramans would just be filming them from inside of the windows. So I had to put that there, and right now this is going to be the actual annex area where Kelly's desk area is, away from everybody else, and it was kind of difficult. I had a little trouble with this right side of the annex because I knew what Kelly's area looked like and the desk behind her, but you know, they don't really hang out on this side of that area apparently, because I couldn't remember what was there. So I figured it out. I found a good image eventually and mimicked that. This is Toby's area, the mopey Toby. So gave him all of his, I think he was HR, right? So I gave him all of his paperwork, and he gets 2 giant shelves to organize everybody's complaints, and you know, all of his wall decor and knickknacks here and there. And then yeah, so this area was a whole lot of fun. And while I was like looking up photos for inspiration for their desks, I actually saw an article or something saying that the reason why Kelly, Toby, and Ryan were all like separated from the rest of the office characters, like on the annex side and in the broom closet, is because they were actually a part of the writing crew for the office. So they were able to write like in peace, or you know, offset pretty much, since they weren't always needing to be like in the background at their desks or anything like that. So it gave them more freedom to write apparently. So that's super cool if that's true. I didn't really fact check that, but that was neat to know like why they were separated really. Always was kind of curious, but there we go. And Kelly's desk area, I didn't talk about it a lot, but it was really fun to create because I just gave her some more girly things and some nail polish, so had fun with that. And now we're just vamping up the break room, making it more realistic. Like they had 3 tables there, and fixed up their wall decor to match the actual office's break room. And just checking a few things, like swapped out Daryl's photos like I mentioned before, and that's about it for upstairs. I'm making the stairway down to the warehouse now. So I had a lot of fun building this, and I know in the actual office building there's more than just the warehouse, but for you know the sakes of this build, I wanted to make a giant warehouse because you know, we don't really see any other part of the office building, so you know, I didn't want to really spend time making anything else down there. So I had a whole lot of fun creating a warehouse vibe. I definitely wanted to include that basketball court because a lot of the warehouse episodes were mainly based around that basketball court, and how competitive they can get. So definitely needed to include that. And then I wanted to give them another entryway from the front door as well, so the warehouse workers don't have to like go to the second floor for some reason and then go down the stairs. That didn't make sense. So I gave them this nice warehouse-like entryway with a gate just to be like, hey, warning, this is the warehouse. And yeah, there's another desk there for them to work. I end up including some storage space and end up making this whole part a restroom for the warehouse workers, so we don't have to go upstairs and use the office restroom. And yeah, just made the more warehouse bathroom furniture, like the black toilets and the science shower actually, but it worked. And I wanted to give them a lot of shelf space because it's a warehouse and they're a paper company, so they needed a lot of boxes of paper. So I imagined like every color box is a different type of paper or something. So yeah, here we go with my millions of boxes. I ended up taking a little break and adding some drains because it felt like it added to the warehouse vibe, and they have lots of clusters of and piles of boxes everywhere, so took a little break to add those in. And that white thing underneath was meant to be like a pallet as close as I could get, but I just wasn't happy with it, so I ended up just removing it and swapping it with these enlarged shelves with natural wood, and back to placing millions of boxes on the shelf, all sorts of different colors, and I am honestly pretty happy with how it turned out, because again, I didn't have a whole lot of reference photos for like the whole entire warehouse, but this is how I imagine the warehouse would be, like if we were to get a tour or something in one of the episodes. So put most of the shelves and box space back there. Right now it's a pretty clean warehouse, so you'll see that I add a bit of grunge in a little bit. Added those dumpsters in because I feel like they would have dumpsters in there, and a recycling thing because they're a paper company. I feel like they would recycle. I don't know, it just fit. So giving them an extra workspace here as well, because I saw that they did have a bunch of workspaces in the background. And this couch was very similar to the couch that they have in the warehouse, just very ratty and, you know, nothing fancy, of course. And they had lots of crates, so here I am adding a bunch of different sizes and shapes of crates everywhere. And I wanted some shelves with boxes of paper ready to go by the loading dock, which is like outside their garage. So there's that. Adding some more signs and a clock, more warning signs, and clutter. I don't know if I said this already, but this is like the most clutter I've had to put in a build before. And at this point, I'm pretty much copying and pasting from other areas because I'm using a lot of the same items in the Get to Work pack. But yeah, it really works throughout the build, so I want to keep it somewhat consistent and then add some unique clutter wherever it's needed. Gave them some lockers in that like couch chill area, and added some like fizzy drinks and pizzas on the picnic tables. Gave them a large old school boombox because I'd imagine that they'd have one of those down there, at least one of those. And here I am adding trash piles because it wasn't a very clean warehouse. It wasn't this organized. So I had to give them a little bit of grunge, and you know, of course, some empty trash cans are scattered around too. So I'm almost done with the warehouse. So I'm adding some lighting. I ended up swapping out these lights just because they were too spotlighty. So I wasn't very happy with them, even if I spaced them evenly. Added some cool wall lights, but here I am removing all of those large lights and putting in some softer industrial type lamps that I find bring more of the right appropriate warehouse lighting. Like, it wasn't super bright in there. So here I am adding the most important touch to the downstairs warehouse is the office space. So I finally found a good inspiration photo for this, and it fit pretty nicely under this stairs nook. So it's actually a part of the stairs space. I just added a door and a window and built underneath the stairs. I don't know if you saw that, but I blocked off that Harry Potter stairway area with larger crates so that they didn't get like stuck underneath there, just in case, you know. And that's it. Done with the second floor and the first floor. So here we have the main office space. The photos are rolling. Here's how Pam's reception area turned out. It turned out pretty well. There's her view to Jim and Jim's view back to her. Dwight Schrute and Jim's space. Outside of Michael Scott's office, here's the inside. Pretty happy with how it all turned out. There's the famous interview spot there against the shutters. Onto, Stanley and Phyllis and Andy's desk right there, and the peak of the conference room. Here we go. Lots of air quotes meetings there. And here's the accounting department. So Angela's desk right by the fan, and Kevin's, and what's that other guy's name? The serious one, Oscar. Can't forget about Oscar. Here's the kitchen. Happy with how it turned out. I feel like it's very office-like. And Ryan's broom closet desk area. I feel like that turned out pretty well. And the ladies' restroom. It's probably the nicest area, getaway area for them. And a peek at the men's restroom, but nothing fancy there. Here's the annex area, Toby's office, and then some come and go desks for characters that pop in, pop out throughout the seasons. And here we go, Kelly's office area with all of her girly items. And a peek at the break room. This was in so many episodes here, so I was happy I was able to put some vending machines in there and capture that vibe. And here we are at the warehouse. I love this vibe down here. I feel like I captured it pretty well for the warehouse guys and warehouse girl. So yeah, lots of workspaces, CDs thrown around, lots of paper boxes, because that's what type of warehouse it is. And you can't forget about that basketball court, the hangout areas. Those blue picnic tables are in a lot of the episodes. And, I've seen a fish on the wall, so I had to include that there. Magazine racks, that garage door. I feel like I captured it pretty well, but let me know what you think. Like, subscribe. Thank you.